So welcome back to another Acceptable Casualties Battle Report. Today we have 1,500 points of SS Totenkopf taking on 1,500 points of the British 11th Armoured playing Breakthrough. Be back in 1 second to go over the list for the Brits and the SS. So here we have 1,500 points of British 11th Armoured playing the Armoured Squadron list out of Market Garden. Down here we have our 1IC and 2IC. We have our first platoon of 3 Shermans and 1 Firefly, another 3 Shermans and 1 Firefly, and then 2 Shermans and 1 Firefly. So that's 3 platoons of tanks. Back here we have the Armored Car Squadron with 2 of the Daimler ones, and then the Sawn-Off. We gave it the Piat upgrade, and then they also have 2 of the little dingoes with them as well. And then for our last platoon, we have 3 Universal Carriers. No upgrades on that. So altogether, 5 platoons, 1,500 points. Let's go over and take a look at the Totenkopf. So here we have our 1,500 points of the SS Totenkopf from the SS Panzerkampfgruppe. Down here we have our 1IC and 2IC. Our 3 Panzer IVs with his name, Ben?
Biomir.
With Biomir. We have 4 Stugs. And then we also have 3 Panthers. Vin rolled up his Tiger A skills with this list for everybody because that's what Totenkopf gets to do. And of course, Vin got to reroll. What did you get? You got 4 reroll misses, reroll failed to hits or whatever they are, and then the 1IC got reroll bogs.
That always happens with my 1IC.
So, yeah, I don't think I have anything to complain. It was gonna be a pretty good roll for the Tiger A skills. So we'll be back in a second with deployment and see how this game gets going. So we are back for the deployment phase. We'll go over the Brits first. So down here, we decided to send the whole armored column up the street over here with the dingoes and Daimlers up front, followed by the Universal Carriers. Then we have one of the platoons of Shermans and the 1IC pulling up the rear. Over here, we decided to put 2 platoons of Shermans over here in the fields, accompanied by the 2IC. Down here on this end is where the objectives are, over here, both on the railroad. And then up here for Vin's deployment, he put, who Vin's is your 1IC or 2IC?
1IC.
So 1IC's detached over here. Then back over there, you have the 3 Panthers and the 2IC attached to them as well. Vin had to put mobile reserves out, so he has his Stugs and his Panzer IVs sitting in delayed reserve. So try to strike first, maybe get some guys with the table pretty quick. But we'll see how that goes at the top of turn 1 for the Brits. So we are back here for top of turn 1 for the British 11th Armoured. Got a little aggressive here with our movement. We decided to go at the double with the Universal Carriers, the tanks, and these guys, we just did our regular movement, but they get to go 24 because they're on the road and they're wheeled vehicles. As far as both of these 2 armor platoons up here, we just moved our 8 inches and kind of just set up shop, wait to see what those Panthers are going to do over there in the corner. So that's all we got going on here for top of turn 1 for the Brits, kind of just waiting to react to see what the Germans are going to end up doing. So be back in a flash for bottom turn 1 for the Germans. So we are back for bottom of Totenkopf, turn 1. Pretty good turn here for Vin as far as positioning goes. He's getting his guys set up. Movement phase, the Panthers and the 2IC, who's back behind that tree over there, they scurried around this forest right here. And the movement phase over here, the 1IC, who's down here now, just ended up going at the double and trying to get his guy positioned to help defend these 2 objectives down here. Shooting phase, like I said, at the double didn't do anything. The Panthers over here, they fired their shots over into this platoon up front right here, and Vim's able to get 1 hit because of the distance, and then he just ended up getting a bail, so I kind of lucked out on that one. But now I got 3 parked Panthers sitting in front of me, so this could get ugly next turn for the British 11th Armored if I don't put a dent in that platoon right now. So we'll be back in a second to see how they held up. So you're back here for top 2 for the 11th Armored. Pretty good turn for us. We ended up moving the Universal Carriers up over here to try to make a push on that objective for next turn. We moved our 1 platoon of Shermans right here and 1IC, scurried them up a little bit and kept that Firefly parked in the back. The dingoes, we moved off-road over here, trying to get them to make a play on this objective next turn. The Daimlers, we ended up pushing up the road again for 24 to maybe try to put some pressure on this Panzer back here, and maybe some of those Panthers with some side shots next turn. Up over here, the 3-tank platoon of Shermans, we kept the Firefly stationary and then pushed these 2 guys up to the side. And then that supporting Sherman platoon, we kept parked there with the 2IC next to them. In the shooting phase, we opened up with our Fireflies. We were able to blow up one, bail another, and then the Sherman smoke from one of the platoons, they were able to hit that middle tank with our last volley of fire. So we were able to smoke out one, got one guy bailed. That's pretty much what we did here for shooting. Hopefully that guy stays out of the tank so we don't have to deal with any return fire next turn. We'll be back in a flash for bottom 2 Totenkopf. So we are back for bottom of turn 2 for the Totenkopf. Pretty good turn for Vin. As far as movement goes, the Panthers did stay over there. They just stormtroopered. The 2IC swung around the woods there and placed themselves over here on this side to get a better angle down here on the Daimlers. And the 1IC ended up swinging back over here to get another shot and maybe pincer these guys. So in the shooting phase, the 1IC and the 2IC, they both opened up into here. And with the 1IC, Vin was able to blow up one of the Daimlers and bail out a second one with a machine gun shot. The Panthers, they actually did a lot more work. They were able to pop one of the Fireflies, and then they were able to bail a Sherman and blow another one up. So pretty good round of shooting for Vin, kind of thin out the herd. Hopefully by turn 3, he gets somebody to come in here and help support these guys. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 3 for the Brits. So we are back for top turn 3 for the 11th Armored. Pretty decent turn for us. We moved our universal carriers, our dingoes, down here to contest that objective on the south. We shimmied our 1 platoon of Shermans up here to kind of get a better shot at the 2IC and then control that corridor coming into the objective. The 2 remaining Shermans from that 1 platoon that lost the Firefly, we were swung around back over here, and we also moved our 1RC up to over here. Up here, the commander for the Daimlers failed to jump in, so we had to stay static over there. And up on this side, we pushed up our 1 Firefly and our 1 Sherman that was still left in that platoon, and our 2IC up on the flank over there. We failed to get back in with that one. For the shooting phase, we just fired smoke from the Shermans over here because we couldn't really do anything to those Panthers. We ended up getting 1 hit on there, so Vince smoked out the 1 guy who doesn't have the reroll, so this could get ugly for us next turn. Down here for shooting, we had the Piat for the sawn-off Daimler, and we ended up missing the shot, so the 1IC is still alive on that side. And over here, we had 3 Shermans firing long distance at the 2IC over there. We ended up getting 3 hits, but unfortunately for us, Vin made 2 out of the 3 saves, and the one that did go through was just for a bail. We hit our firepower, so we ended up bailing him out. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 3 for the Totenkopf. Vin's going to have a reserve roll, which I think is going to be pivotal for him getting back and really contesting this objective over here. So be back in a flash, bottom 3 for the Germans. So we are back for bottom 3 for the Germans. Actually, a really good turn for Vin. So movement phase, the 2IC up there failed to get back in even with protected ammo, but they really didn't need them because the Panthers swung back over here. The 1IC came down here to help contest that objective. And in the shooting phase between the 1IC and the 2 Panthers, they were able to take out 2 of the Shermans over here and the Firefly. So really good round of shooting for them. And then with the Stormtrooper move, they were able to shimmy back a little bit closer to that objective. Vin didn't get his reserves in, but I think just what happened right here, like I said, they're going to be able to squeeze out another round and try to get those guys in next turn. But I'm going to have to make a push on these objectives this turn. This could get really ugly once those reserves start coming in. So we'll be back for top of turn 4 for the Tommies. Hopefully things go well for us. So we are back here for top of turn 4 for the Brits. And man, this turn did not go as well as I was hoping. So for movement, we kind of just shimmied everybody around to get in a position to take some shots at those Panthers and at the 1IC down here. We moved the dingoes over across the tracks, and then we ended up just going to ground here with the universal carriers. In the shooting phase, the 2IC and the remainder of the one Sherman platoon. Firefly missed. We missed all of our smoke shots down here. Things did not go well. For the Daimler and the sawn off, we swung around to get rear and side armor with a couple shots, and we missed on both. So that was heartbreaking. Over here, the one remaining Sherman, we ended up staying parked, and we fired 2 shots into the one IC. We ended up missing both, but then the one IC for us and another Sherman were able to punch through, and Vin failed one of his saves, and we ended up getting our firepower to go off. So we're going to come back here for bottom of turn 4. Vin's going to need some reserves to come in here, or those Panthers are really going to have to weather the storm for another round. So we'll see how it goes. Bottom turn 4 for the Germans. So we are back for bottom turn 4 for the Germans. Good turn for Vin overall. He was able to get his 2IC to jump back in over there, and he ended up getting his Stugs to come in for reserves down here. So as far as the other movement, the Panthers swung around and tried to position themselves to get back in and contest this objective over here. So in the shooting phase, that Panzer IV up there, the 2IC, fired down here and did 1 casualty on the universal carriers, and then bailed out another one over there. Over here, the Panthers opened up, and they were able to kill one of the dingoes and then bail out the other. And then the Stugs over here, they split fire. 2 of them fired into the universal carriers and ended up missing everything, not doing any damage. And the 2 other Stugs had their 2 cannon shots in the rear on the Shermans, and they were able to blow up one over there, take up that platoon, and then on the other platoon that was sitting over here, they were able to get another casualty, and the remaining tank ended up breaking. We were thinking that Vin lost because I had that objective contested, and Vin failed the stormtrooper move to move in over there. But after looking back at the rulebook for breakthrough, actually that none of this matters until turn 6 or later. So even though Vin rolled a 1 on the stormtrooper move and we thought he lost again, luckily, the looking back over the rules, the fight will continue, and we'll go back to top of turn 5. Maybe this is the break Vin needs to do away with this losing streak. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 5 for the Brits. So we are back for the top of turn 5. This turn was a mix of good and bad. As far as our movement phase, we failed once again to get that guy back in his tank. Over here, we swung our 2IC and one of the Shermans up there to stare down that Panzer IV, and then we brought our other Firefly over here. We took our 1IC from down here and kind of pushed him up to get him away from those Stugs, and then we swung our Daimler and the sawn off over here to this objective. And we failed to get that dingo back in, and we ended up staying on the ground with the universal carriers. In the shooting phase, obviously nobody shot here. Up over here, we fired our 1IC into the Panzer IV, and we missed. And then over there, we fired 2 shots into that Panzer IV, and what is it, Vin? Yeah, you had 2 saves. Well, you matched one. It could have been a bail, but I failed the firepower. So I'm probably going to pay for that next turn. And then the Firefly down here shot, and he missed the Stug over there with his 1 shot. But the heroes of the turn were over here. It was the Daimlers. So I got 2 hits on rear armor on the Panthers, and I ended up failing both firepowers, but it was enough to bail each one of those. And then Vin ended up failing his motivation. He failed his morale test because they already lost 1 Panther, 2 bails, so it was a morale check, and Vin ended up rolling a 1, so they're off the table. So that was pretty huge. But, you know, this turn, I think Vin has, 3 Panzer IVs coming in, so if Vin can, blow these guys off the table here, then we might have to go another turn. So we'll see what happens for Totenkopf, bottom 5. So we are back for bottom turn 5 Germans, and man, this was gut-wrenching right here. So Vin ended up bringing in the Panzer IVs off that back table edge over there. He ended up staying put with his 2IC, and then his Stugs, he ended up pushing up over here on this side. Shooting phase. So what Vin ended up doing was he split fire down here. He fired 2 cannon shots into the universal carriers over there after the move, and he ended up blowing both of them up, which was huge. So that cleared that objective because I'm still bailed out over there. And then down here with his sergeant and another tank, the sergeant got the rerolls. They went and they fired over here, and Vin missed everything, didn't you? With the Stugs, right?
With the Stugs, yeah.
Yeah. So with the
I bailed the one guy.
oh, that's right. Yeah, you did. You bailed one with the Stugs. That's right. So he was able to get one bail over here. He failed his firepower, hitting the Slonov Dingo. The Panzer IVs fired 3 cannon shots down here, and they missed on everything. And then the 2IC up there, he was able to fire down, and he hit, and he bailed out the other Daimler, which forced me to do a motivation test. And then I ended up passing, thankfully. So they're still on the table, but everybody's bailed there. But unfortunately for me, what's left on the table right now, I have to do a company morale check because I only have one platoon of Shermans and the Dingoes and the Daimlers because Vin took out those universal carriers. I've already lost 2 platoons of Shermans. So I'm gonna roll right here. My 1IC's there, so 4 ups to stay in the game. The reroll. Vin. Oh, it's off the table. Give me another die. The suspense is killing me. All right, so here we go. Oh no, double ones. Are you kidding me? Vin's streak has been broken. He's in tears behind me. You guys can't see it, but he's crying a little bit. So we'll be back in a second for the recap. Vin, oh man, I really wanted to beat you so bad this game. But okay, we'll be back for the recap in 1 second. So we are back for the end game recap. This is just it's like a junkyard out here right now. The amount of tanks and everything got blown up. This is pretty awesome. As far as what I was thinking with my Brits, when I lined them up in column over here on the road, I knew I had that speed with the Daimlers and the Dingoes to make that huge push up here and kind of put the pressure on Vin to pull his Panthers out and almost just make it a race for this objective. I mean, I know I wouldn't be able to beat him to the objective, but definitely try to draw some fire over there, put some pressure on him to make some shots while I kept the those 2 platoons of Shermans over here to try to, maybe get some side armor if Vin would have pushed up through that alley or force him to kind of deal with me from over there. So that was my plan on that side. As the game moved on, I was trying to get the Sherman lineup over there, like I said, to get set up for those side shots, and then kind of move that other Sherman platoon up here into the middle of the road, and then kind of just cause, just a huge stopgap over there for those Panthers, and then any reserves you might have thought to bring it on that side, and then just kind of protect my universal carriers, my Dingoes over here on this objective, and then getting the Daimlers in that deep over there. I liked having them that deep because it caused a little bit of pressure on Vin having to really focus on defending this little forest right here from 2 different angles, which I think ended up paying off in the end for the tactic. But obviously, we ended up losing the game. But those Daimlers just putting pressure down here. I think they were probably I would give them almost the MVP of the game for me, for the Daimler and the Dingo platoon. Yeah, just for their mobility for this. I mean, they, being able to shoot up that road all the way across the table, get some rear shots on the Panthers, and then just being able to threaten objectives with the Dingoes and the Daimlers over here. Like, they were really good. I mean, firepower-wise, not the best thing, but, like, mobility. Like, I don't know. I really, this is the first time I ever got to use them. I actually really enjoyed it. The Fireflies, I mean, they're pretty good. Yeah, from like that 15-inch, that 15 strength gun with the reroll at distance. I mean, they're a threat to a ton of stuff on the table. The Shermans, I think, are just, they're not good. They're not garbage, but I don't think they're that good either. The gun's not that good. The armor's not that good, but
Yeah, if I had Tigers on the table.
That's what I mean. Yeah, matched up against some decent German armor. I mean, not to say that the Panzers and the Stugs aren't decent, but matched up against a bunch of Panthers, or throw like a Tiger or 2 in there, and they're pretty worthless at that point. But I think overall, like I said, I enjoyed running the list. I'll have fun playing them again. But like I said, matched up against Vin's Germans, I think the play that he had here with the Panthers and then pushing you guys back up over here, I mean, I think it was good. Like I said, you were able to kind of stymie that press over there for a turn or 2, and then get back over here and then kind of help contest these objectives for another turn. And then, Panzer IV's coming over there, they biffed, but the Stugs down here.
Yeah, they were the saving.
Yeah, they made their shots, and they were able to kind of push up and at least get some pressure on these 2 objectives for me. I mean, you kind of had me almost in a pincer there at the end. I mean, like I said, and then, it's just a giant chunky art here. But I don't know, Vin, how do you feel about how things turned out for you? I know you were a little worried there, like turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Definitely with the Panthers, I think they did exactly what I wanted them to. which is just kind of at least try to hold these guys off for like a turn or two. My MVP is going to. Granted, he got shot off the table, but the fact that he held them off for what 3 turns.
Yeah, the one I see. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he took a bunch of heat down there, and I mean, yeah, he got a couple. He got a couple of those Shermans, and yeah, he weathered the storm down there for a little bit. He definitely held that into the table down until reserves ended up getting in.
Yeah, that was kind of kept me in the game for the whole beginning. I think just surviving all the volley shots from
Yeah, that
Oh,
whole platoon over there.
that was huge.
But yeah, I thought the game ended on turn 4 because you didn't have anybody contesting over there. I'm glad I went back and looked at the rule book just to make sure because I could have kept my mouth shut and just walked away with another victory here. But I thought you might have had a nervous breakdown if it was another loss. So overall, like I said, fun game. This was actually a blast. I had a lot of fun bringing out the Brits here. Totenkopf, they're pretty nasty with those tiger races for all the sergeants through all the platoons. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that paid off.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, fun game. Vin, congratulations, pulling yourself out of the depths of depression and getting yourself a win over here. Like I said, if you liked what you saw, hit the like, subscribe button. Throw some comments down there too. We like to hear what you guys got to say about the games. But yeah, we'll be back in a couple days to post up another one. Thanks for watching.